Trevor Lawrence. He finished as a top 7 quarterback in 2022. He had some challenges last year. Obviously, the wide receiver core has changed yet again, but he's plummeted down in ADP. It feels like people are already trying to label him as a bust.
Yeah.
Heath, please talk some sense into the people. Trevor Lawrence is fantastic. Is he another guy that you could potentially get in those later rounds that you can, wait on quarterback and go and grab someone like him?
So this is one of my favorite parts of my job, because last year I hated Trevor Lawrence. I didn't actually hate Trevor Lawrence, but I thought he was being drafted too early. And so I spent almost every show talking negatively about Trevor Lawrence. And now this year I have him ranked in a very similar spot, except I love Trevor Lawrence because he's being drafted way too late. And it's more fun to be on the love side anyway. Yeah, I think his rushing ability probably a little bit underrated. He had some really terrible luck, both in terms of the injuries he played through last year and the number of passes in the red zone that were either dropped or caught with a foot or two out of bounds. I think Brian Thomas Jr. can absolutely fill what Calvin Ridley did last year and hopefully be better. Hopefully you get a full season of Christian Kirk. I think Lawrence is one of the best values later in drafts. I do still rank Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels ahead of him because I do think they both have more upside than he does. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback this season.
Yeah, and Tom, no quarterback last year lost more EPA to drops than Trevor Lawrence. No quarterback last year added less EPA in the screen game than Trevor Lawrence. No quarterback had a less efficient offensive line blocking in terms of pass rush win percentage, and it was one of the least efficient running games in the entire league. Do you think that the Jags have done enough to address all those issues that could potentially allow Trevor Lawrence to truly fulfill his potential?
I think they've made some good moves. I mean, you look at Brian Thomas, obviously has potential to be a stud and can really stretch the field and open things up for Christian Kirk. Obviously, there's Gabe Davis there as well, who is a player who the fantasy community has turned their back on, been in and out on plenty, but I think that where he's going in drafts is a fine value, but he'll also help to open up the middle of the field where Christian Kirk can just absolutely be that outlet. Like over Trevor Lawrence's career, he's averaged 4.8 more points per game with Christian Kirk on the field. It just seems like that's where he's comfortable throwing the ball so often. In terms of the running game, I mean, I've been a known Travis Etienne hater for the last couple of years, just because it always felt like the price wasn't quite right, whereas this year it feels more palatable. But he dropped off in the second half of the year. But that seemed to coincide with the offensive line getting worse and worse. You know, Cam Robinson missed 8 games last year. Anton Harrison, who was their right tackle, first round pick, he didn't play very well, but it was his first year moving from left tackle. So, you know, you have to give a little bit of leeway there. They added Mitch Morse from the Bills to play center. He only allowed 1 sack last year. And Trevor Lawrence, he was 17th in completion rate when kept clean last year, but 28th when pressured. So just getting a bit more security ahead of him should hopefully allow him to just stay a bit calmer, make things work, and perhaps don't throw screen passes to Tank Bigsby, because on the 4 that he got, 2 of them turned into touchdowns for the other team.
Yeah. I think they, however they schemed up screenplays last year, they basically need to rip it up and start again because it was absolutely abysmal. And I can't believe we're 5 minutes into talking about Trevor Lawrence and no one's mentioned that he's got Evan Ingram as well. Like, he's such a safety blanket underneath, target hog that can just add some value. So yeah, I love Trevor Lawrence.
My theory actually is that the reason that his fantasy points go down when Christian Kirk is not available is because he has to throw it to Evan Ingram more.
I'm with you, Heath. I think that I don't think that the Jags want to throw to Evan Ingram that much by choice, and I think that Evan Ingram as tight end 8 this year is not a player I really want to draft very often.